Hey everybody, just give this a second. Make sure it works. And the sound is good. Good. So, trust everybody can hear me. I might look a little bit frazzled today because everybody is so freaked out and I'm on the receiving end of a lot of stress. So today's video, yes, US broke. US broke. Chainlink under 15 is a goodbye. So many people are stressed, inundated with the questions, should I give up? Should I walk away? Is crypto dead? What do we do next? So I'm going to try and again give you guys a feel for kind of where we are today and where I see things going. So as usual, channels about math, money, and freedom. The topic today is we are still early. And that's the message kind of I want to get across to everybody right now. And of course, disclaimer, none of this. We got somebody in Turkey at 3:30 in the morning. Sorry for keeping you late, but none of this is investment advice. And I know things are hard. So let's just reflect for a moment. I want people to just think of where we are. And I know a big part of the problem is a lot of people got in late. And Caligula, yes, the future is bright. Thank you, sir. You are incredible. I'll never forget that. Thank you. But if we look back to where we were March 2020 to today, we're still up 671% in 16 months. Lesson number one. Now, if you went from March 2020 to April 14th, 2021, we'll be up 1,429% in 13 months. So again, I know it's hard for people to understand that, but a lot of the people that got into the game got in late. And therefore, they're getting hurt because sometimes, as somebody wrote to me today, they picked the absolute top of Bitcoin. They got in at the very highest price. And that's just a shame. And they was after spending 2 years debating, should they get in? Should they get in? And the minute they get in, things happen. But I just want people to reflect that Bitcoin is a beast. You get 200% average compound returns per year. Yes, there will be volatility, and I'm going to talk more about that as well as we go forward. And no, the UK are not banning Bitcoin. They can't. As I say, you can't put toothpaste back in the in the tube. Anyway, thank you for that comment too. So let's look at something. We're going to zoom out a little bit here. These are the 1 year candles, okay? Just so people know. Now, we're at a stage right now where, yes, we are down 50% from the all-time high. But if your time horizon is 5 years and you expect it to be a 10 to 20x return, a 50% pullback is nothing. So again, everybody just realize, look at that chart. Do you want to be part of that? And despite this little glitch, or throw it all in and just hope for the best, getting 7% return in the stock market? That's what we're talking about, is exponential returns, and that comes with exponential risk as well. But the overall return is an exponential return, and it has been for the last 12 years. So think about that. Now, I just want to say a couple of other things too. We are early. We're at the 1.8% adoption mark of Bitcoin and crypto. Super, super early. You've seen this chart before. You guys know it. So those that are in now, literally, you are way ahead of the game. Think of the rest of the population, the rest of the world, the other 88 or 98.5% that aren't there yet. So consider that. Now, this is another one to consider as well to prove we are early. Just to show you the value of Bitcoin as compared to other assets. We are basically 0.1% of global wealth within Bitcoin today. We're 2% of US debt and of the M2 money supply, 5% of gold market cap, and digital gold is Bitcoin, and it's far superior than traditional gold, and on and on and on. If you look deeper, you can see that we are a quarter of Apple, a third of Amazon, and we're about to flip Tesla. So that's another way of kind of benchmarking how early we are and how small Bitcoin still is and how far it has yet to travel. So I just wanted you guys to think about that too. Now let's go a little bit deeper. So this chart shows you the performance over the last month. And there's a couple of positive things here, somebody just said my diagrams are unreadable. I'm looking at the stream on a big TV and they're fine, and on a separate laptop, so it might be low res. But if we look at the last month, Bitcoin is down 11%. Yes, but large caps are down a lot more. So this is kind of an interesting one to note. Basically, Bitcoin has retraced 11.2% since the beginning of July, but cryptocurrencies with the large market caps are down 18.5%, small caps down 20%, and mid-cap cryptocurrencies are down 22.4%. This is per Arcane Research. The key message here is, as I always say, the bigger the asset, not necessarily the greater the alpha, the return, but the beta is a lot less. And we're seeing much more downturn and retracement in the smaller cap. The smaller you go, the more volatile they are, the more risk they are, the faster they go up, but also the faster they go down. So bear that in mind, everybody, as well. And that's critical to see. We have a question from Hiroshi Sakakirabara. Hope I got that right. Do you think the full transparency of Bitcoin will be a problem? We are essentially showing everyone how much we're worth every time we make a transaction. That's if they know what your address is. So no, but I think one of the great beauties of Bitcoin is its transparency and openness. And I'm going to dig into a little bit of that. So big thank you, Hiroshi, for your question. Great question. But stay tuned because I'll get some of those things answered as well as we go forward. So look at this. Taking us back in time, this is where Amazon was in March 1998. Remember, they just sold books back then? They were just starting out. The website was horrible, but they had 2.5 million titles on their bookshelf. And where are we 23 years later? Does anybody want to hazard a guess? Well, this is the chart. And this is what it means to get in early. 70,000% returns. And it's a clear example of how technologies can redefine the future. And this is why I am very, very bullish, because we are early and it's great to be in early. So everybody kind of think that. And I'm kind of kicking a dead horse here, but I have a lot more to say about how early we are. So here we are, Fidelity survey, 71% plan to buy crypto. Let me zoom out for a second there. Fidelity just surveyed their high net worth customers, and 71% plan on buying Bitcoin, which means they haven't yet. And these are people with kind of 5 million or more in assets. Heavy hitters, big money, not retail investors putting $1,000 or $500 into Bitcoin. We're talking millions and millions of dollars. Now, most institutional investors do expect to have digital assets as part of their portfolio going forward, and they just need crypto exposure. And that is where it's going. But wait, there is more, as always. JP Morgan, we've heard from Jamie Dimon for a long time that Bitcoin is not good, etc. But this guy is the head of institutional investments. His name, I think, is... I can't remember his name right now. But I think it was Erdios or something. He said a lot of our clients, that's to say that asset class, high net worth clients want to invest in crypto in this asset class. And he said, our job is to help them put their money where they want to invest it. And they're only doing this for their clients also, like Fidelity, their high net worth clients, $5 million and above. The special people, the rich people are now getting in. Again, 71% from Fidelity and JP Morgan, up to 90% of their people want to have crypto exposure. Again, the money is coming. It might be a little bit delayed because of this downturn, but the money is coming, and that is for certain. Nobody wants to invest in bonds anymore. Negative yields pegged against an asset that's debasing. It makes no sense. So let's go a little bit further. Now we talk about, you've heard me talk about the mainstreamification as we go forward. So here, I don't know if any of you out there watch the UFC, watch basketball, watch baseball, watch Formula One racing, but now we have crypto and FTX sponsoring all these different sports. FTX is sponsoring MLB baseball on all the shirts of all the officials and everything else. And they have a basketball stadium in Miami. You got crypto.com now plastered all over Formula One racing and cars. And at the UFC too. So these sponsorships cost a lot. I think FTX put 175 million, and UFC sponsorship cost about the same. I don't know what the Formula One sponsorship cost, but they're spending probably north of $500 million to mainstream crypto. Now, you go to a Formula One race. Some of those races have 400,000 people sitting in the stands watching cars go around a track. 400,000 people are going to see crypto.com, and all the people that stream UFC fights and watch baseball and basketball all over the world. So this is what I mean about being early. Now, one of the things Sam Bankman-Fried, the CEO of FTX, who is 29 years of age, he understands that crypto adoption needs to grow. And he knows that less than 10% of Americans own any form of cryptocurrency. In other words, 90% don't own any cryptocurrency. And that's just talking Americans. I know that the Europeans are a little more advanced and they have a higher penetration. But this is not detracting for the people that don't, but he's going after those that do. And he also quoted things like people may know what Bitcoin is, but they got no idea what Solana is or any other things that are part of FTX's ecosystem. But let's talk about FTX for a second. Also, to prove we are still early, look at this. Basically, FTX just raised $900 million in a Series B. That is $1 billion in a Series B. The company is now a 20x unicorn valuation, which is nearly $20 billion. So think about those stunning numbers, but it gets better. Brian, thank you so much for the donation for the announcement, by the way. But what's stunning about this, who gave them this $900 million? Lightspeed Ventures, Third Point, Insight Partners, SoftBank. But look, Sequoia Capital, one of the best VCs in the world. Paul Tudor Jones is in there as well. Coinbase Ventures. All of these big names, Van Eck, who are trying to get an ETF published. These are the names behind this. Everybody that is smart, all the smart money is plowing as much money as they can into this space fast. We are still early. Let's talk about MasterCard. MasterCard, like Visa, is trying to jump on the crypto bandwagon. And when I talk about not being able to put the toothpaste back in the tube, this is another example. Visa are making huge investments. MasterCard are making huge investments. MasterCard now want to flip crypto to fiat using your MasterCard credit card. And they are looking to do this very soon because that is what 93% of people across 18 global markets said they wanted. They want to be able to spend their crypto. They want to be able to turn crypto into fiat and use it when they spend. And this is happening, and MasterCard are going to make it happen. Again, we are early, but all the infrastructure, all the on-ramps are being built as we speak. Now, let's talk about one more thing real quick here. The whales are also buying like crazy. This is one example, just for people to know the type of activity that's going on. And again, back to Hiroshi's question regarding transparency. Is it bad? No, it's not. Transparency is what you don't get in the traditional world. And this is what makes Bitcoin so unique and powerful and why it terrifies centralized institutions. So if you look at the list of the biggest Bitcoin wallets, the addresses number 89 through 106 made a huge purchase. They picked up nearly $1 billion of Bitcoin over the weekend. While all of us were looking at the markets, these people are buying. That's nearly 30,000 Bitcoin were acquired in a synchronized manner. So what does this look like? And Hiroshi, it's like I almost paid you to plant this question. It's perfect. This is what Bitcoin looks like for those that don't know. You can look at the whales. You can look at their wallets. Now, what's fascinating about this, there's about 164,900 Bitcoin, I think it was, which is greater than 1% of all Bitcoin in circulation. Remember, 4 to 6 million are lost, 1 million is locked up. So having 164,000 Bitcoins makes MicroStrategy with 105,000 Bitcoins look really small. This person, this individual, this entity, I don't know what it is. They have 17 wallets, and Hiroshi, again, we don't know who they are, but we know what they have. Now, these 17 wallets all had exactly 8,000 Bitcoin in it since 2018, and were never touched for years until, guess what happened? They layered in about 1,661 Bitcoin to every wallet at the same time. And you can see all the activity here. So this basically, it's you can do the math. This total entity now has about over $5 billion worth of Bitcoin. And were they selling? No. What did they wait the last 3 or 4 years to do? They waited for this moment to buy. So if that's not a bullish signal to everybody, I don't know what is. So DC, million token, that's not on our next 10 list, I'm afraid. So we'll have a look. We do know a little bit about it, and their compelling value prop is the tokenomics, but we'll try have a quick look and get back to you on that. So thank you so much. But let's go a little bit further here after that whale news. Now, who else is buying? Of course, our favorite Cathie Wood. Cathie is quintupling down on Bitcoin, and she's buying every proxy she can get her hands on. She bought another 310,000 Grayscale Bitcoin Trust shares. By the way, during the time when everybody was saying, oh, GBTC is going to tank, and Bitcoin did have a little bit of weakness, but it also shows tremendous resilience. And again, proving to you again, the whales are buying. And the whales are also manipulating, which we saw by a big spike as well yesterday. Now, not only is Cathie buying GBTC, because that's the only way her fund, ARK fund, can actually acquire Bitcoin, but they're also quintupling down on Coinbase. So they expect a big move in Coinbase. And they've been buying Coinbase since the IPO. Every $20 it falls, they keep on buying, and now they're buying at $220, $230. So we'll see what happens. But again, Cathie Woods, she knows her stuff and remains very, very bullish. Now let's go a little bit deeper into one thing I always like to look at, and I trade off volatility from my options trading. This is Bitcoin volatility. And I've been saying this for weeks now, saying I've never seen Bitcoin so quiet. So I pulled up a chart here, and this is Bitcoin compared to USD volatility over the past 2 years. And you'll see 3 points where it's been so low. One was basically when C19 began. Second of all was October, and now we have now. And typically what happens when we look at these different averages, anytime there's a very quiet period of volatility, it always typically explodes afterwards. We saw that after C19 in March. We saw that after October 2020. And I don't know what's going to happen next, but if history is an indicator, we'll see. I just want to point that out to you guys. I'm just explaining the theory that we are still very early. Second of all, this is another very interesting one. When we look at the Bitcoin bull markets compared, based on historical bull markets, we should be at about $90,000 to $100,000 right now. And we are way behind. Both Stock to Flow says the exact same thing. So this market is absolutely depressed. I know we've been through hell with China and the miners and a lot of the FUD and the ESG and banks trying to cut off fiat on-ramps and so much more. But we are way, way, way down from where we should be. So what does this tell you? We'll see. Maybe the only way is up. A comment there regarding Cardano. I'm not going to say anything about Cardano, but we'll see. So that was one more thing, I think. This is regarding Ethereum, not Cardano. So thank you for that question. But this is El Capo. He believes the Ethereum price could jump by 450%, 430 to 450% by year end or early 2022. And by my estimations, that would put Ethereum up at above $8,000 a token. And he says right now he is betting that Ethereum over Bitcoin if the crypto market enters this new bullish period that's ahead. So again, a lot of people are looking for Ethereum to really rocket up. It has been super weak, but it actually yesterday during the weakness, we saw some things happening. It showed tremendous resilience. So it didn't get hammered or wicked down. And even if you look at the Bitcoin chart as well, it'll show you it is very, very, very strong. So let's see if I have any cool news. So this last thing, I just want to warn you guys always, please, 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 please be careful. Scammers are everywhere. There are armies of them. Because of the lockdown and everything else, thieves have to become digital and very smart. And I can't tell you that the level of sophistication these scammers have. A quick kind of refresher and warning. I am on 3 different social channels: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. That's it. To get the real links, go to YouTube. They are posted there. I'm also on Patreon. And within Patreon, I'm on the dedicated Discord. But I will never follow anybody, and I don't reach out to anybody ever. So if somebody that looks like me with a fake L, you can see this one here. This is LNvest Answers. They try and play with the name. Sometimes they'll use lowercase L to make it look like an I to be fake. But anyway, the point is, I will never reach out. So be careful. I'll never reach out. I'll never ask you a question. I'll never ask you to invest in a fake coin or anything like that. And that's what they tried to do today. So be careful. And also lock your stuff down. I'll drop a link in my How to Protect Yourself, my 20-point plan. Get a YubiKey. It's the easiest thing and you'll sleep so much better at night. But this was heartbreaking. A family lost their life-saving $75,000 in a SIM card swap attack. Now, the sad thing is it's a husband and wife with 2 young children, 2 young boys. They had a plan with T-Mobile, and literally he saw his SIM card got swapped. His phone couldn't work. He got on Wi-Fi, and he was watching his Coinbase and Coinbase Pro accounts being emptied before his very eyes. Again, lock your stuff down, everybody. Make sure you don't suffer a SIM card swap. These people are targeting people that own crypto. So be very, very careful. And it's not hard. It's the easiest thing in the world. You can spend 10 minutes and your stuff will be secure and you'll sleep well at night and you make these scammers' lives hell. So big thank you to everybody to do that. And speaking of scammers and criminals and ransomware and everything else, this is really interesting. We talk about, will the US government ban Bitcoin and crypto? No. Joe Biden and the US government just said that they will offer information and they will pay in cryptocurrency like Bitcoin to anybody that gives them information on dealing with state-sponsored cyber criminals. They're talking about Russia and other places that they believe are state-sponsored. So the US government is now paying rewards in crypto. Brilliant. So I want to share that with you all. And final news, Engine Coin, we're going to be analyzing that real soon. They are now working with the UN on a global pact to help people not only manage carbon credits and everything else, but also empowering creators and helping the world become more sustainable and drive more equality. So it's another feather in the cap of how you can take an NFT platform and apply it for other types of purposes. So very happy and very positive about Engine. So with that, I'm just going to open up the Q&A and hope everybody's doing good. So let me just switch camera and pop out the chat and see if there's any quick questions here. And again, it's been a long day for me, so I'm a little bit drained, but I hope everybody is doing okay and not worried. So Austin Green, will Cardano hit 98 cents tonight? Well, my sentiments on Cardano, I won't talk, but it's getting hammered. Thank you, Brian, as well. Much appreciated. And let me see, DC, thoughts a million token. We'll probably not going to look at that. It's too small. And just for people to know, from our perspective, we tend to focus on the largest cap names, just as I shared with you. The bigger the token, the bigger the project, the bigger the protocol, the less risk. And we've seen some things happen to things like Rooney and other, Thorchain and others over the last couple of days. So, D-Lin, no, not having too much fun in Tahoe. And people in Patreon know where I've been all day, so don't worry about that. Tyler D, hey James, love your stuff. Recently saw an ad on Discovery Channel during Shark Week for a token called Baby Shark token. What are your thoughts on smaller DeFi tokens? It seems you have a more conservative, but I do very much so. But I do believe the world will be tokenized in the future. Stock markets, real estate, art is already happening. Maybe our wills and marriages, marriage contracts will all be tokenized. The whole world will be tokenized. The whole world will be put on a blockchain. People's resumes, people's references, people's credit, people's voting ability. Now they're trying to put people's vaccine status on blockchains and stuff too. So my take is the blockchain is going to do everything in the future. The question is, you got to back the right players. There's nothing wrong with a small token, a low market cap token, as long as they have a very unique value proposition and extremely strong backers and a very good team. But those are few and far between. I mean, we're talking 20,000 plus projects, hundreds being added every day. It's very, very hard to separate the wheat from the chaff. So we tend to focus on just real kind of either engine or heavy hardcore DeFi type plays, similar to what Grayscale started opening yesterday with their fund. And I've always been invested in DeFi because it's going after the largest total addressable market. And if there is a small token that has a unique value prop for the DeFi market, I am all in, and we will analyze it to death. So keep your suggestions coming. James, if I lock my crypto up, how can I still stake it? Well, it depends where you're doing it and how you're staking it. We are actually going to be doing a video real soon on borrowing and lending against your crypto. And we're also going to do some stuff around a little bit of light stuff on staking and how you can actually use some of the new decentralized exchanges too. So stay tuned for that. But it depends on your platform. There's a million different ways in which you can stake, and there's many different platforms in which you can stake. But like anything else, when you stake, in many cases, you're actually giving away your crypto. So always beware of the counterparty risk and make sure you do it with a very trusted source. So be careful of that. Let me see. Rex Holes. I won't have a question. I just want to thank you for being generous enough to share your vast knowledge and experience with the rest of us. Oh, you're so kind. And I'm a lover. That's very humbling. Thank you. Canadians are so nice. J-Ram, haven't heard from you in a while. Oh, peace of mind, yeah. And I'm not a pumper or anything like this. I just want people not to panic. The future's very bright. Take the stuff I share today, zoom out, look at all the data points that are completely objective. And if I could find a whole bunch of negative things that were going to say, oh, the world is going to fall and everything else, I would share that with you first and foremost. So be very careful of that as well. I'm not here to pump or shill anything. That's not my style, and not why I'm doing this. All in, Bitcoin or Ethereum? Choose one. Cheers. Darth Flyer, the safest bet is always going to be Bitcoin. Ethereum has so much more risk and so many unknowns. EIP 1559, Ethereum 2.0, competition. Like Solana, for example, could be an ETH killer. We don't know where all this is going to shake out. I said Solana, didn't I? I didn't say Cardano, which is the original ETH killer. But if you had to go all in on something, Bitcoin is the safest bet. And we're looking at historical buy points right now during this bull market cycle, which I still believe we are very much in. So thank you for that question. Caligula, any concern that crypto.com is in Hong Kong? China seems to monkey around with Hong Kong constantly. Monica says, stay positive, sending good energy. Thank you so much. Yeah, my sister used to live in Hong Kong, and she moved to Singapore, and then she moved to Malaysia. So definitely the mainland China does meddle in Hong Kong, but the backbone of Hong Kong is financial services. And Hong Kong knows well enough to preserve that key asset and key industry within the island itself. So the Chinese are smart enough to know which side their bread is buttered, as they say. So I think they may not muck with it right now. And also in today's world, it's very easy to change headquarters. You look at like a Binance, doesn't even have a headquarters, but they're looking at 5 different locations to set one up. Or they might even set up 5 different locations as headquarters. So the world is becoming very virtual in every perspective. I do not use crypto.com, however. I use that example as an example of how mainstream crypto is becoming and the work that they're doing to get it out there. And their choice of sponsors is also very interesting, I think, both being Formula One, which is truly global with hundreds of millions of people that watch it every year, and the UFC. Interesting choice of sports. So let me see. Am I missing anything else? Rodney, thank you so much. And Jason, you're the best. Okay, too many comments. I get very shy and embarrassed when people are like that. So please don't. Good. Any final questions? Yes, Solana EVM compatibility is coming. Announced by Neon Lamps, and I'm hugely bullish on Solana and Aave and Avalanche and everything else. Those names, many of them are really getting hurt right now. In fact, I'm going to take a quick peek at the market and see exactly what's going on. So we are like $400 away from 30,000. Again, when I spoke about the Bitcoin volatility over the last 24 hours, it is almost flatlined. You'd swear almost Bitcoin is dead. So if you've been watching Bitcoin charts for 4 years, you'll know it's like like this all the time. I've never seen it so quiet. So gradual manipulation is happening. And everybody, don't sell. If you have Bitcoin, do not be spooked by this market and this downturn. Just be patient and zoom out. Craig Winston, Galaxy Digital, on a post uplisting forecast, current climate, $100 unreasonable. Galaxy Digital has been hammered to death right now. It's completely oversold. And as I tell people, if they had options on it on Ameritrade, I'd be loading up my bags. But I look at the price now, down at 12 US, and whatever that is in Canadian is probably under 10 Canadian right now. No, sorry, it's 15 Canadian. It's extremely weak. And I do love Galaxy because they're of their stable of unicorns that they have. They have at least 5 unicorns. So we'll see what happens. I just think the whole market is extremely bad. But I think Galaxy at this current price point of 12 US or under $12 is definitely good. So other question was, there's so many questions popping in right now. Good entry point in Tesla. I love Tesla. Tesla was, let me have a quick look at where that they did today. I know they went up. And I know that a lot of people criticize the FSD, but you have to consider it's a complete rewrite. I am extremely optimistic on not only their future earnings, but where they're going right now. But let me have a quick look as to where we are. Earnings will be coming up real soon. I expect really good blowout earnings. I expect really good margins. I was in a Tesla dealership a couple weeks ago. You got to wait till October and November to even get a car. Completely sold out, and you've got no choices. So I like Tesla under 620, which it was a few days ago. That's a very good entry point. And it could be volatile with earnings because we don't exactly know what's going to happen. So Jason, I hope that helps a little bit. Ryan, good to see you. HODLing through a dip is a rite of passage. Do you think Bitcoin is a religion? No, I don't think it's a religion, but it's definitely the biggest asymmetric bet of my lifetime. And I've been looking at markets for a long time, and I've never seen anything so perfect. And I nearly want to requote the words of the former founder of Apple when he described Bitcoin, but it is a thing of beauty. Let me see. Kelton Johnson, hey, I know it's a meme coin, but what do you think about SafeMoon? SafeMoon's a scam. Plain and simple. I hope I don't offend anybody, but it's a scam. All those things, the SafeMoons, the Doge to some extent. Well, Doge probably isn't a scam anymore, but it's a complete joke with no fundamental backup other than buying popcorn with it. So just be very careful of all that stuff. Same thing with Hex. Be very careful. Like if Hex was so brilliant, why would the founder take Ethereum to convert to Hex and keep the Ethereum for himself? It just doesn't sit well with me. Clark and Innisthee, what risks do you see holding USDC now that the Fed is seemingly on the warpath against stablecoins? Yeah, Clark, great question. The Fed is definitely Janet Yellen and co. Somebody made me a meme of laser eyes burning Janet Yellen. I was going to share it, but I don't want to get on the wrong side of politicians. But they're definitely going after Tether, and they believe Tether is a house of cards, and they know something that we don't, and that could bring down Tether, which could have a huge impact on the market. But I think it'll be gradual, and people are already moving away from Tether into USDC. I am very confident in USDC. It's extremely well backed. Circle does an extremely good job. They keep their books tight. It's not backed in paper. So less risk with USDC. But always remember, if you're getting paid 10% on something that's pegged to the dollar, that premium you're being paid in interest is for risk. There's always going to be risk. So always bear that in mind too. And Kelton, don't buy SafeMoon. Just be safe. And that's almost a Darth Flyer. I knew it was Bitcoin hyper Bitcoinization. Yeah, you know, we need a couple more El Salvadors and we'll be well on the way. But even without any of that stuff, I mean, the stuff that Jack Dorsey's doing. By the way, I'm really excited about the B Word event tomorrow. And I'll put together my summary of the key takeaways from that for you all as well. Joe Scott, can you please explain the reason you're skeptical of Cardano? It's arguably more important for us to understand those you are skeptical of. Yeah, so I don't like saying bad things about Cardano, but I've always said for quite some time, when I started analyzing other tokens and comparing them to Cardano, comparing the market caps, the valuations, things like that, and the functionality, I started questioning why, after all these years, that Cardano hasn't delivered. After all the promises, after all the missed deadlines, and in getting smart contracts out the door. I understand Charles is coming at it from a very academic perspective to make sure everything's perfect. But I also come from the software world in the past for a little while. And I always remember watching Microsoft, and they always pumped software out that was 80%, 90% good. And that was good enough. And there's an old expression, never let perfection be the enemy of good. And I think that could be Cardano's Achilles heel. If you look at Vitalik Buterin on the Ethereum side of the world, he's like, just get it out, test it, fix it, test it, fix it. That's kind of his attitude. And I think that's the way software works. That's the way I've seen successful software working for a long time in my life. So that's part of my concern, not delivering smart contracts. And they've let the competition catch up. And the competition, like the Solanas of the world and many others, are way more equipped, way more scalable, faster, cheaper, better. We'll see. We'll see where it all goes. I just look at valuations and I compare them and I buy the cheapest one that has the most upside. So that's the way I invest. Buy low, sell high. Real simple. Solana, yes, under 25. Not investment advice, but I actually bought some yesterday. So that was, I had a list of, I have all my traps set with limit prices, and I wait for things to fall into my spider web. And 5 fell in yesterday. So Solana was one of them. Hello, mate. Would you ever consider a service where you could show you our portfolio spread and you could provide specific input on how to rebalance, divest, etc.? I do that every single day within Patreon with people. So I share all my portfolios, my loadings, my systems, and how to build an optimal portfolio. That all happens in Patreon/invest answers. So I hope I am not way behind on questions. Oh, I think I am. There's so many questions coming in. Frimbiz000. Crypto Casey, a fellow YouTuber, had a great take on Tether collapse causing a systematic crash of the entire crypto market. What's your take on Tether? Tether is big. It's not big enough to bring down the whole crypto market. You know, if you imagine crypto market being, say, 1.2 trillion, 1.4 trillion, Tether's worth 60 billion. Even if it explodes, it'll be like a haircut, 6-10%. It'll be a violent reaction. But most people know already that Tether has a problem. So that's my take on that one. The world is geared for it. You know, buy the rumor, sell the news. Everybody knows Tether's bad. Even Janet Yellen knows Tether's bad. Tether are trying to cover things up in Barbados or wherever they are. But, you know, I think it's all factored in. And again, buy the rumor, sell the news. I don't think it's a problem. Paul Brown, do you think China miners moving to the US could be a possible cybersecurity threat? No, I don't think so. No, not at all. The miners are like mercenaries. They just go to earn money. They're not interested in bringing down the value of Bitcoin. And plus, the rigs that they use are designed for one purpose only. And they're not designed for cyber threats whatsoever. It's a very straight computational machine, nothing else. Caligula, can you explain to Monica why Tesla isn't a car company and what is your price prediction? Oh, great question, Caligula. Okay, first of all, Tesla, when you first step into a Tesla vehicle, you first of all realize it's not a car. Everything is different. And they basically unthunk how a car should be. And what they are is basically an AI machine on wheels with two very, very powerful computers. They have the world-class battery technology that is second to none. They have Dojo, this big AI center, which is controlling things like FSD and learning every single day. Every single time a car turns around a corner on a street it's never been on, that's uploaded to Dojo. They have a whole Powerwall business and solar roof business and everything else. And they also have found a way to manufacture cars better than any other car manufacturer. They literally stamp the chassis in one fell swoop out of aluminium. The cars that they make are also the safest cars in the world. The Model Y, it has the best SUV crash test of any car by far in the history of the world. And there was a post I made on Twitter earlier today. A family, father and daughter, was run over by an 18-wheel truck that weighed 500 times more than the Tesla. And the daughter had a scratch and the father had a fractured wrist. And if you saw the vehicle, you would be shocked. That's what they are. And I believe the future is things like robo-taxis is going to come, where there'll be autonomous vehicles. Like even if you were to lease a Tesla today, and you buy full FSD and it's a 3-year lease, after that lease, Tesla take it back. You can't even keep it. You can't even buy it out. And that's where Tesla believe the future is going. So it is so many things. It is hard to believe. And the car companies like the Volkswagens and the Fords and the GMs that are trying to catch up, they are like 5 to 7 years behind. And again, don't think of it as a car company. Think of it as like an AI technology company that sells cars on the side. So Richard North, what do you think of Bitcoin ETFs with coins custodied with Gemini? Yeah, the Bitcoin ETFs I think are coming. I think the silence has been kind of under wraps is what the SEC is trying to do. They're focusing on other things right now like Robinhood and market manipulation and hedge funds. But I do believe an ETF will probably be Grayscale first, end of this year or very early next. It has to happen. And the work that Grayscale are doing with BNY Mellon, they picked those partners for a reason. They've got very strong relationships with the SEC. Santa Fe Mike, thoughts on AMP? Best regards. Thank you from Texas. AMP is one of those names that is in our top 10, but we're not sure when we're going to get to it and analyze it. But it's not in the next 3 to 5. But we, just so you guys know, we're doing Cosmos next and then Engine Coin. And we're also going to do a lot more comparisons of how you compare crypto to equities, because a lot of people now, because they're getting bored with crypto because it's been flat, they want to hear more about cryptos. So we're going to do things like benchmarks. You know, how does Google compare to Ethereum, for example, or Bitcoin to Tesla, which I've done before with updated price models and price predictions. So if people were to invest, if they had 10,000, what would be the best bet? Would it be Bitcoin or Tesla or Google or Ethereum or Cardano versus, I don't know, GE? We'll see. So that's kind of a wrap for now. No more questions, I think. We'll have a quick look at the market before we do wrap up and see what's going on, because sometimes when I'm focused on you guys. So we're still at that 29.6. Again, in the 20 minutes, half an hour I've been talking, Bitcoin's moved $3. That's what I mean by lack of volatility. It's insane. So I hope you can all really at least take some comfort from what I said today. It's not the end. The world is not over. We are still early. The big money's buying. Just try to get on the train if you're not already on. And for God's sake, don't get off the train. Stay on this train. It's going to be very special for the future. And don't listen to me. Listen to the smart money and look what they're doing. Don't listen to what they're saying, but look what they're doing. Look where they're placing their bets. And don't let the people with $5 million plus in assets get your Bitcoin, or the whales that have $5 billion worth already that just bought another, $1 billion. So everybody, thank you so much. Be safe and talk to you tomorrow. Bye.